Massive update for XRP investors. During today's video, we break down how a supply shock is on the horizon. And during today's episode, we're going to break down this brand new information that shows global exchanges are running out of XRP. With XRP's supply on exchanges being down from 3.7 billion units to only 1.6 billion units of XRP left globally, we're going to show you all a brand new video from CLAVER and outline the analytics and data that lead us to believe a massive supply shock moment is coming sooner than people anticipate. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Evening Crypto, your favorite crypto news related channel. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button and subscribe, as you're going to get an update every single day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, I want to kick off today's episode by giving our listeners an update of how much XRP these ETF issuers have absorbed in just the first 6 weeks after launch. Now, this data really does speak for itself, but currently there is $1.4 billion worth of assets under management, which equates to about 749 million units of XRP being locked up through these brand new ETF issuers. Now, when you look at that compared to the circulating supply, we are quickly approaching 1% of the total supply and over 2% of the current circulating supply. So this is already having an impact on how much XRP is out there in the open market. And when we're looking at some of these ETF issuers, Johnny, it's very important to note every single ETF must reach $100 million in order to get investments from the largest companies on the planet. Now, why is that? When these large companies are purchasing XRP via the OTC desk, they are writing checks of $10 million or greater at an absolute minimum. Now, if any of these issuers sells more than 10% of their XRP ETF to a single participant, they are violating United States guidelines. So that means in order for these large companies to write a $10 million check, there needs to be over $100 million in assets under management. Now, currently looking at this list, there's only a couple of products that have equated to more than that, Johnny. We've got Canary Capital leading the charge here with 175 million units of XRP held in assets under management. 21 shares is 135 million. BITWISE is 125 million, and Grayscale sitting at about $112 million. Franklin Templeton is in fifth place at 113 million, and these numbers are rising every day. Even today, we had $8 million worth of inflows, while Bitcoin and Ethereum have experienced nothing but outflows heading into early 2026. Now, you coincide this, Johnny, with the massive buying that we're seeing from ETF issuers, the reduction in circulating supply that we're seeing on exchanges for XRP, and for the actual data, guys, we have never seen numbers this low. I've been in this space since 2019. At no point from 2019 to now has there been this little of XRP circulating on exchanges globally. This means there is massive demand, Johnny, and we could be heading up to this moment where the amount of supply in the market is far less than the amount of demand for this asset. That's how we get rapid price appreciation for the XRP price chart. Now, analyzing this and correlating this with what CLAVER had to say in his stream last night, one thing is absolutely clear. Times are changing here in 2025, and we could be looking at a dramatically different market as we head into 2026. If you believe we get a massive supply shock, smash that like button. If you disagree, leave a comment underneath the video. We're going to play a brief clip from Jake and kick it right to Johnny Krypto. Here it is.
What's your thoughts on January? Crypto Aries still said 16 billion XRP on exchanges. What do you see? Thank you for the kind words. Look, there's a lot of people out there reporting on stuff, and they're not wrong. Okay, I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful to have been in positions to have conversations with people, to have a unique perspective that many other people that are native to digital assets might not have. And I am native to digital assets, but I am not a developer. I don't write the code. I don't participate in hackathons. I understand what the tech can do when it's applied. Okay, that's probably my expertise over some others. So when it comes to what's left on exchanges, there are absolutely 16 billion XRP held in wallets controlled by exchanges. There's an overlay on each one of those wallets for accounting that's internal that you cannot see in these exchanges. Just like at a bank, they could pool money in an account, but segregate it out. They all have their own routing number, right? This would be like a wallet address for an exchange for your XRP or your XLM. And then they have account numbers that would be like your tag number for your XRP that they owed back to you. So they pool the XRP in these omnibus accounts. Coinbase has 20 plus wallets. Uphold, I think, has 13 or more wallets. They all have a lot of wallets. And so if you added all of that XRP up, sure, there's 16 billion there, but what's actually available for trade? How much does retail actually hold on these exchanges? Well, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty, there's not much left on the OTC desks. There's not much left in the dark pools. And there's not much left for actual trade on the exchanges. If I'm a betting man, and I am apparently, because I have a bet that's due here in, again, about 48 hours, less than a couple $100 million worth of XRP is all that's left there after the ETFs have been eating up the supply for the past more than a month now. There's really not much left. And the dark pool that Falcon X owns, they're going to be putting toward 21 shares, which they acquired, right? They're not going to be selling that to anybody else. They're a prime broker. They can use that as collateral. They can do things similar to Hidden Road. Coinbase Prime, kind of the same way. So again, they're going to be using that XRP that they have for their purposes. They're probably not going to be selling that to other people or allowing them to purchase it. Really, as the price escalates, the only liquidity source that people are going to be able to come after is retail. And there will be plenty of retail that sells. And we talked about this before. You never go broke taking profits. So there's going to be lots of avenues in the very near future for you guys to be able to generate returns on your XRP or yield on your XRP alongside, I think, much better interest rates for borrowing against it, especially as the price increases. So not telling you not to sell. Most people, again, are going to tell you to sell. They're going to tell you to take that money and go put it in something that they're doing. I want you to hold your crypto as long as you can. We've seen the people that have held their Bitcoin for, 15 years. They're doing really, really well. Probably a good game plan for people that are invested in crypto to just hold over the long term and then work with the right people to be able to generate cash returns on it and also borrow against it. So back to the amount listed on exchanges here. Again, I don't think that anybody's misrepresenting or misreporting things. I think that they may just be ignorant to how exchanges actually operate internally and how much XRP is actually available for purchase. And so supply and demand dynamics would be very skewed in comparison to what they might believe is available on the market.
And Johnny, this is a big question that we've been getting since these ETFs went live is how are these institutions purchasing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of XRP and it's not impacting the XRP price chart? Well, we were fortunate enough to interview the BitWise CIO, Matt Hogan, and you asked him directly in this video, how is that a possibility? How are these companies purchasing large amounts of XRP, but it is yet to impact the XRP price chart? This fits perfectly into what Jake had to say. Here's BitWise CIO Matt Hogan.
No, it's a great question. So we do all of our buying OTC. The way it works is if we get, let's say, $100 million into our ETF, we go out to 7 major institutional market makers, Jane Street, Susquehanna, Goldman Sachs, Macquarie Bank, the big guys. And we say, give us your best price on $100 million XRP. And they'll all come back with prices. And then we'll call them up and say, Jane is 3 cents wide. Can you do 2 cents wide? And we'll drive the price down as low as we can. We'll put them in. And then we'll execute.
So there you have it, Johnny. 100% certainty out of an XRP ETF issuer himself. This new demand from the XRP asset is hitting the open markets and it is hitting the exchanges. And my belief is it is the exact reason that we're watching the XRP balance on exchanges worldwide be rapidly diminishing, down from 3.7 billion units of XRP in early October to less than 1.6 billion today, the lowest levels we've seen since 2017. And the XRP community needs no reminder about what happened back in 2017 when supply was low on exchanges. We got a euphoric bull run, the likes of which we have never seen before. What's your reaction here?
I mean, the best way I can explain this to anybody is think of an elastic band. This is what's happening. The elastic band is getting stretched further apart. But right now, because we haven't released it, it hasn't left the ground. Everyone's like, why would you sit it down here? Well, we're sitting here right now. But boy, the momentum that is being built up, it's just hard to explain to people because they just don't understand the concept. They just want the price to go up, but they don't care why it goes up, and they're pissed off that it ain't going up. But what you have to understand is before the price can go up, there has to be more buying than selling. And right now, there's obviously a fair match between buying and selling. But eventually, once all the selling is gone and all that supply is bought up and off the shelf, Abs, that's when you start with a massive momentum play where this thing does that euphoric. You know, you mentioned 2017. Well, go look at 2017. That thing skyrocketed massively, and it was because there wasn't a lot of supply back then also available. So that's what happens. And now there's a ton of supply available. The Yes Girls have been released. There's way more supply out there today than there ever was in 2017. So it takes more of that supply to be bought first, back off. Look at that thing, right? That was 2017, but there was not, 50 billion available. The escrows were still tied up, and there wasn't as much available on the exchanges as there were today. So more out there, which means we need to get back to those levels. Now that we're back to these levels, it doesn't take a lot to send us up, and that's what we're all waiting for. That's what everybody's excited about. I think that is eventually going to happen. Now, when? I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not going to sit here and make predictions on when it's going to happen. All I know is you want to place yourself in a bet that is in a positive or good position. Well, when I look at what's happening here, I'd rather be investing in something that I know the supply is being taken off the shelf and going away and becoming scarce. Look at silver and gold. You're seeing it skyrocket now, but it took 2 years. Central banks have been buying this stuff up for 2 years, and now it finally exploded. There it is right there. Now it finally exploded. Nobody has patience in this space, and that's the problem, and that's what we're here. We're the patience channel. We're telling you to have patience. Sit back, relax, don't worry. Don't invest money you can't afford to, because then you'll be able to have more patience. And Abs, I feel like that moment is coming sometime, I think in 2026 is where I would expect where we get this point of no return, where now you've got no supply, you have a ton of demand coming in, and then it's just off to the races as high as we can go. How high? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 dollars. Let's get through those close fibs, and I think we'll really be positioned for XRP to be, I mean, you know how many lives are going to change at a $10 XRP? That's a very significant number. So I think Jake is right in terms of the fact that supply is dwindling down. You've shown the data. Jake's talked about it. Go check AI. AI says the same thing. There's about 2 billion, out there. So the reality is it's getting scrunched. I love this chart, by the way, just showing the minimum amount, because this means we are getting ready for takeoff.
And guys, if you're enjoying this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to give you an update every single day here on Good Evening Crypto. And I think the $1 trillion question is, what is BlackRock planning in the background? And that's another topic that Jake Claver addressed during his live stream last night. We're going to play this brief clip and break it down. Is BlackRock planning an ETF or maybe something bigger? Here it is.
When I have conviction on something and I feel very strongly about it, I'm not going to pivot or hedge. Other people do. David says, could BlackRock already own a massive, large, gigantic bag of XRP? And when price appreciation happens, they announce an ETF and make billions on the cost of XRP after price appreciation instead of announcing it before. No, BlackRock would not do that, David. Things that make you go, Look, you absolutely have to buy up XRP before you launch the ETF, because you have to have some supply to be able to sell in the ETF, right? Like you have to have at least some in there. Again, I've said this before and I haven't been as public about it. I've said it a lot more times in the mastermind, but I'll say it again here. BlackRock is significantly more involved than you guys realize. I won't say more than that, but that will become apparent as things progress.
And this is why I think Jake's conversations have a lot more validity than some of the critics like to give him credit for. It is absolutely clear that if Jake is genuine, he has been privy to conversations that make him extremely optimistic about BlackRock being one of the major catalysts that leads to this euphoric moment for the XRP price chart. December 31st, 2025 is less than 36 hours away, Johnny. And we are at a moment right now where a lot of Jake's predictions, a lot of the analysis that he's been putting out there for the last year and a half It is make or break for the XRP community. And I think what Jake is outlining here is that things may get a whole lot more exciting than the average listener anticipates.
Well, think about it, Abs. At the end of the day, let's just face it. I mean, you could clearly read what Jake's trying to tell you, right? He's trying to tell you guys, I know more than I can tell you, right? That's what he's basically saying, Abs, is he knows something that he can't say. He obviously knows.
I want to ask the live chat guys, one's underneath the video. If you think Jake knows more than he's telling us, two's in chat. If you don't believe it, floor is yours, Johnny Krypto.
And Abs, at the end of the day, you know, from what I've heard too, Jake shares an office, I think, in Texas with a BlackRock office. Hey, there's a shocker. So, but the reality is, to me, he clearly knows something that he can't talk about. Might be under NDA. He's got connections with these guys. And that's why I think Jake has such a strong conviction in what he believes. Now, I think his timing is off, but I think he knows that BlackRock they are tied to this. Larry Fink has come on TV and said, no, I can't talk about it. Brad has come out and said, no, I can't talk about it. So there's obviously something going on behind the scenes here that these guys know, that have them excited about. And when it comes out, we're all going to find the news. Now, think about this. Here's the thing. Talk about like almost a perfect storm. And I'm just painting a scenario here. You've got now supply at all-time low. You've got ETFs that are continuing to buy. You still have some more ETFs that are going to continue to come out, continue to consume more of that supply. And then you got Clarity Act coming. And imagine if BlackRock comes out and says, oh, by the way, we're doing this or that. Oh, my God. Forget about it. The excitement and the retail excitement, that's going to draw in so many people. And imagine, think about this. Why is it now that we're all-time lows of supply? That's the best time to start creating some excitement and drive retail in. I just got a text from my buddy right now. He just told me, because I sold all my crypto. I mean, that's what these guys want, right? They want people to capitulate. They want people to get out. And then they're going to pump this thing up. And then these idiots are going to come back in. It's my buddy. Oh, well, it is what it is. And they're going to come back in, Abs. But they're going to come in at the wrong time because they don't have the patience. They don't understand what's going on. But guys like Jake understand there's something else happening behind the back scene. You and I both know, we talk about this all the time. When BlackRock gets involved, it's a whole nother ballgame. They are the largest asset manager in the world. They can pull levers that no other company in the world can pull to make prices go higher and lower and whatever. So to me, I'm excited to actually almost hear Jake talk about and say, guys, something's happening. I can't tell you, but something's happening here with BlackRock, because I've always wondered, is BlackRock going to come into space? Are they ready to play? The problem, the real answer to that is, Abs, they're probably already here. They're probably already been playing in this space, but they're under NDA and they can't talk about it. That, to me, is what makes the most sense in this space.
Well, Johnny Krypto, when you listen to the founders at Ripple and you listen to the people who helped create the XRP ledger in and of itself, Chris Larson has said the XRP ledger was created to be a solution for the next financial crisis. A lot of these catalysts that Jake has been calling for, they're happening before our very eyes. Now, we need that spike in oil. We need to see Japan to continue to raise rates in early 2026. But things are getting very exciting for the XRP community. And here's a whole nother layer to this narrative. For the first time ever, we have the world's highest IQ holder here tweeting this out just 10 hours ago. Watch XRP for the next 48 hours, $3 level. And I commented, the 48-hour countdown is here. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next one. So if you're looking to do the same strategies that we implement here on Good Evening Crypto, I would advise everybody sign up for Merlin and click on the ITrust Capital link below. Now, why did these two ideas play off one another? Merlin is going to allow our listeners to understand where they should be taking profit in this market, and ITrust is going to allow our listeners to take that profit tax-free through an IRA product. Now, that's not the best part about this. We are giving new clients a $100 sign-up bonus using the promo code GEC9. So I would encourage everybody, click on the link below the video, use promo code GEC9, and set yourself up for success during this crypto bull market.